got under here? Nobody. Let's see what's in here. Nobody home. Nobody. Bugs. Nothing. Alright, this one's in a sunny spot. I'm optimistic. Here we go. And alright, this one looks good. Nobody. Alright, Monster Rock. Let's make it happen. Ugh. Oh, that is a rip-off. Alright, let's give this one a whirl. Milk snake! So this is an eastern milk snake, and obviously he just shed because he is beautiful. But I'll tell ya, I have a real problem with this snake's name and have for a long, long time. And as a matter of fact, all of you out there should also have a problem with this snake's name. I'm Dāv Kaufman, and these are my reptile adventures.
At Zilla, we are dedicated to the innovation of caging, lighting, and equipment solutions that provide proper husbandry for your pet's long and happy life. To see our entire catalog, visit zillarules.com.
So when it comes to snakes' names, we very rarely ever question where those names come from. We just learn that that's the name of the snake, and so we use it just like everybody else. But again, we don't really question where those names come from. And when it comes to the milk snake, well, milk snakes got their name from the erroneous myth that these guys actually drink milk. And that myth came from early American farmers who, when it was time to milk the cow, if the cow's milk was sour or if the cow didn't give as much milk as it gave last time, surely there was a culprit to blame. And because these snakes are rodent eaters, these snakes hung around barns for the rodents. Well, of course, the farmer saw these snakes in their barn and blamed the lack of milk on this snake, hence the name milk snake. Now, these are also in the Lamprepeltis genus, the same genus as king snakes, but somehow a few branched off and were called milk snakes, a few branched off and of course were called king snakes. King snakes get their name because they eat other snakes, therefore they are supposedly the king of snakes, hence king snake. But milk snakes, for some reason, split off and were called milk snakes, even though these are in the same genus, and these are actually king snakes. But it's not enough that the farmers actually believed that it was a fact that these snakes were actually sneaking into barns and sucking the milk right out of the teats of the cow. But to add to that erroneous belief, they also believed that if they left a saucer of milk out for their cats, that this snake, this little snake, which only gets maybe a foot bigger than this individual right here, would seek that milk out, drink the milk, and then turn around and eat their pet cats. There is so much misinformation revolving around this snake that really, and again, there's so much misinformation about all snakes, but when it comes to milk snakes, I can't think of another species of snake that has so many myths that are revolving around this one snake. So let's debunk this myth here real quick, and that's really easy to do. If you look at this snake's head, the snakes of Lamprepeltis have heads very similar to all other species of snakes. This snake eats just like every other snake on the planet. It will unhinge its bottom jaw. It has elastic muscles and fibers that allow it to open its mouth much bigger than its body. And in the front of the head, the lower mandible is also flexible with those muscles and fibers. So it is able to eat something much bigger than its head size. But what it can't do, and what no snake on the planet can do, simply because the mouth mechanism won't allow for it, is suck. Again, the mechanism of their mouth and how they ingest food simply is not built to suck. So there is absolutely no way that this snake can suck milk directly out of a cow's teat. There is no way that this snake can sour the cow's milk. So again, there are all of these misnomers and all of these erroneous beliefs circulating around milk snakes. So it begs the question, why are we still calling these milk snakes? Why are we still using a name that caters to an erroneous belief about these incredible animals. You know, one of our quests is to educate people and debunk myths about snakes. So, again, why are we still naming this snake after one of the biggest myths about snakes? Every time I call this a milk snake, I actually cringe because I know where that erroneous myth is coming from, and I know that every time I say that this is an eastern milk snake, for instance, that I am catering to that misnomer. I am adding to the false information about snakes. And that just doesn't sit well with me at all. So as I said before, all milk snakes, from South America all the way up here to Minnesota and across to New England and into Ontario where milk snakes are found, they are in the genus Lamprepeltis, the same genus as king snakes. Lamprepeltis actually refers to the scales on the snake's head, and it actually means shiny shield. And while the eastern king snake is the dominant form of milk snakes, there are 24 recognized subspecies of milk snakes, again, from Ecuador all the way up to Canada. So I'm really never one to make a critique about something without offering a solution, and this is the solution that I offer. If these are in the genus Lamprepeltis, if these are actually king snakes, why aren't we calling these red king snakes? So this isn't an eastern milk snake that caters to those erroneous beliefs from the past. This is an eastern red king snake. It's not a Honduran milk snake, it's a Honduran red king snake. Not a Pueblan milk snake, a Pueblan red king snake. I think that is a much better name for these incredible snakes, and again, it simply does not perpetuate the really erroneous myth about these snakes by simply beginning to call them red king snakes. So comment below and let me know if you agree or disagree to start using the name red king snakes when it comes to snakes that were formerly called milk snakes. Comment below and let me know what you think about that idea, and let's start a movement to actually begin calling these red king snakes and start educating people about these snakes instead of perpetuating the myth on where these snakes get their name from. So a few more facts about this incredible snake is that if you look at that pattern to early Europeans looked like the adder that is commonly found throughout Europe. And when those first squatters first came to the United States and began farming here, they saw this snake and they believed it to be another form of adder that they left behind in Europe. And therefore, they believed this to be a highly venomous snake. And unfortunately, every snake that was unlucky enough to meet a human, well, even today, a lot of people kill these snakes because they think that they're venomous. Not only that, but most snakes, these guys included, will vibrate their tail when they're nervous. So people think that they're rattlesnakes because they do that. The interesting thing about people believing that this was a European adder or a rattlesnake is that this is actually a mimic of a venomous snake. This is a mimic of the coral snake. It's not really that well pronounced in the eastern milk snakes, but some of the more banded milk snakes you can definitely see how that is a mimic of a coral snake, but, well, those people that believed that this was a rattlesnake or an adder really never put that connection together. Now this particular individual must have just shed either yesterday or today because they do not look this clean coming out of the wild. This is one of the cleanest looking ones that I've found ever. Usually they come out muddy, you can hardly see any color on them. Man, we got lucky with this one. But obviously, milk snakes are not venomous. They are actually extremely beneficial, especially to farmers, because these guys are nature's rodent control. There is no other rodent control better than a snake, because these guys can get where birds of prey simply can't get, and that's where the rodents live. And without these snakes, humans couldn't even live on this planet. This planet would be a world of rodents. This planet would be overrun by rodents. It's because of the snake that rodent populations all over this planet are held in check. And so these snakes are actually extremely beneficial. They are not venomous, and the wanton destruction of habitat and killing of these snakes because of those erroneous beliefs is actually doing some serious damage to family farms across the United States, because the rodent population thus explodes as the snake population decreases, and that makes it kind of hard to grow a crop when you have so many rodents eating your crops. Anyway guys, that is why I have a problem with this snake's name, and have for a while. I've never made a video about it until just now, but this video is long overdue. You know, I did that video a year ago, I think, on how we should rename the fox snake the northern rat snake. Well, I seriously believe it's beyond time that we rename milk snakes the red king snake group, because every time, again, I call it a milk snake, or we call it a milk snake, all we are doing is perpetuating a myth about these snakes, when it's really our job to squash those myths about these incredible animals. So again guys, comment below and let me know what you think about right now starting to use the name red king snake for all 24 subspecies of the group that was formerly called milk snakes, because every time we use that name milk snake, we are catering to a myth about these snakes. And guys, real quick, I just want to thank each and every one of my Patreon supporters. If you would like to become a Patreon and get early access to these videos, discounts on merch, discount on my new novel, that link is in the description below. So I am going to go let this eastern red king snake go exactly where I found him. All right, so this was the rock that we caught him under. So you put the rock back first and then let him crawl under the rock by himself, and that way you're not squishing him accidentally by putting the rock back on top of him, and he is exactly back under that rock right where we found him. And as always guys, thanks for watching, and until the next reptile adventure, love the planet, feed your reptile obsession, and rattle on.